You think you're afraid of failure, but that's not true. Failure isn't what stops you. You failed before. You survived it. What actually scares you is the moment you start, because starting removes your excuses. Before it, everything is still possible. After it, there's no hiding. It's just you, and the result you can't explain away. Your brain hates uncertainty. It's not designed for risk. It's designed to keep you safe. Even if safe means staying stuck, your brain chooses what's familiar, not what's right, not what moves you forward. That's why it whispers, later, not now. You're not ready yet. But comfort isn't protection. It's just fear wearing a reasonable mask. You don't say no. You say later. Later feels harmless. Later feels smart. Later feels responsible. But later is just fear with good manners. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, when you have more time, when you feel ready, when things calm down. But tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next month. And one day you realize you've been waiting longer than the thing itself would have taken. You weren't lazy. You weren't incapable. You were just avoiding discomfort. And every time you choose later, you train yourself to stay exactly where you are. You think people are watching you, judging every move you make, waiting for you to mess up. You imagine eyes on you, comments you'll never hear, opinions you'll never fully know. But most people aren't watching you. They're watching themselves. They're replaying what they said yesterday, what they should have done differently, what they're afraid to try next. Everyone is stuck in their own head, their own doubts, their own unfinished attempts. The real fear isn't being seen. It's being seen trying, because trying makes failure possible. And failure feels louder when you think someone is looking. So you stay invisible, not because you're weak, but because visibility feels unsafe before confidence arrives. You don't regret what you tried and failed at. You regret what you never started. You replay different versions of yourself. The one who didn't hesitate. The one who took the chance. You imagine how things could have gone, not how they did. And the gap between who you are and who you imagine yourself to be starts to hurt. Not loudly, quietly. Because regret doesn't scream. It waits. One day passes. Then another. Nothing dramatic happens. Nothing breaks, nothing changes. It's the same day, with the same thoughts, the same hesitation. You tell yourself you'll do it soon, just not today. And today, quietly, becomes every day. Weeks pass without a clear memory. Months blur together. Not because your life is empty, but because nothing new enters it. You don't feel pain. You feel repetition. And repetition is dangerous, because it convinces you that this is just how things are. You keep waiting for the fear to disappear. You think one day you'll feel ready, confident, certain. But fear doesn't leave on its own. It stays until something challenges it. And that something is action. Not a big move, not a perfect plan, not a full commitment, just the first step. Fear doesn't disappear before you move. It disappears because you move. And the moment you take that step, you realize something uncomfortable. The fear wasn't protecting you. It was just keeping you still. So here's the question you've been avoiding. What actually happens if you try? Not in your head, not in the worst case story you repeat to yourself, but in reality. You don't lose everything. You don't become a failure. You don't get erased. Most of the time, nothing dramatic happens at all. You learn something. You adjust. You move slightly forward. But if you don't try, something else happens. Days keep repeating. Thoughts stay the same. And the version of you who could have done more stays imaginary. Fear doesn't take your life. It just slowly narrows it. And the only way it stops is when you decide to move anyway. If you recognized yourself in this, there's more coming. Stay with me.